How y'all doing? It's Katie here, and welcome to the first episode. Today, find out about Kendrick Lamar announced as Super Bowl headliner. Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris for president. Dave Grohl welcomes baby, but from another woman. Get your Emmys recap. Rosie's fave movies of the summer. Kaitlyn's summer reads. And today we'll be taking anonymous hot takes from listeners and more. So let's go. In this segment, I will be sharing this week's trending pop culture headlines. Time for Katie's top 5 in 5. James Earl Jones, known for his groundbreaking work including Star Wars villain Darth Vader, The Lion King, Coming to America, and more, has tragically passed away on Monday, September 9th. According to Deadline, he died at his home in Dutchess County, New York. He was 93 years old. Jones was a trailblazer not only in Hollywood, but across the globe. Being one of few entertainers that can call themselves an EGOT winner, Jones has one hell of a resume. He blossomed in theater, where he got his start in the 1950s with Shakespeare in the park roles like Othello, Star Wars, The Lion King, The Sandlot, and Field of Dreams are just a few of over 200 roles he has portrayed throughout his over 60-year career. Jones' legacy continues, and his voice will live on. Speaking of voices that will live on, looks like Jay-Z and the NFL are bringing all the stars to the 2025 Super Bowl in New Orleans. Low-key, I kind of ate with that All Stars line. Music superstar Kendrick Lamar was recently announced as headline performer for next year's halftime show presented by Apple Music, Rock Nation, and the NFL. The rapper is having a great year with the May release of Not Like Us, which is still charting high in this week's Billboard's top 10 songs. In response to the selection as performer, Lamar stated, "Rap music is still the most impactful genre to date, and I'll be there to remind the world why." Period. They got the right one. Super Bowl 59 is scheduled to be played on February 9th, 2025 at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans and will air on Fox. Are you ready for it? To vote, that is. Well, it seems like Taylor Swift is ready to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris following the pop megastar's announcement of endorsing the presidential hopeful on social media on Tuesday, September 10th. The disclosure comes moments after the presidential debate between VP Harris and former president slash criminal Donald Trump. Sharing on Instagram with over 284 million followers, she said, "I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to the windows, to the walls in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe in, or I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos." Swift continues by stating that she's done her research and urges her followers and Americans to do theirs. She ends her post by signing off as childless cat lady, as they were referring to her. According to NBC News, it's a reference to language used by Trump's running mate JD Vance to describe women who do not have kids. Swift included a photo of herself holding her cat, Benjamin Button, who has graced the cover of Time magazine with the singer. Someone who can't really speak to themselves. Oh, I like this. "I've got another confession to make. Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters recently shared on Tuesday, September 10th, that he's just become a father and welcomed a baby outside his marriage to wife model Jordan Blum or Bloom. The rock frontman announced the news on his Instagram. I've recently become the father of a new baby daughter born outside of my marriage, Grohl said. He continued, I plan to be a loving and supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my children, and I am doing everything I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. The couples, they share three daughters, Violet May, who's 18, Harper Willow, who's 15, and Ophelia Saint, who's 10. The 2024 Primetime Emmy Awards took place on Sunday, September 15th, where the biggest stars in television gathered at Los Angeles LA Live Peacock Theater to commemorate this year's best shows and actors. It was a very historic night for some like The Bear, which surpassed its 10 Emmy wins for comedy with 11, including Jeremy Allen White for lead actor, of course, uh, Eben Moss Backrack. I chopped that up. For supporting actor in a comedy, and Lisa Colon Zayas for supporting actress in a comedy, making her the first Latina to win the Emmy in that category. Slay. Colon Zayas shared a powerful acceptance speech encouraging women of color. To all the Latinas who are looking at me, keep believing and vote. Vote for your rights, she said. FX Shogun also had a big night, winning Outstanding Drama, lead actor for Hiroyuki Sanada, actress for Anna Soe, and directing for Frederick E.O. Toy. After it won 14 Creative Art Emmys last weekend, which is already like a lot, Shogun already broke the record for most wins by a show in a single season. It extended that record to 18 on Sunday, according to Variety. I hope that wasn't 5 minutes, but to help me talk more in depth about these trending topics are my co-hosts, Kaitlyn and Rosie. All right, I'm gonna start with you, Kaitlyn. What do you want to dissect first? Because like
Heather.
it's a lot.
Um, there's a lot. There's a lot to choose from. I think the top two that definitely stick out to me is I was really excited to see Kendrick Lamar announced as the Super
Yeah,
Bowl
yeah,
headliner.
yeah.
Um, if
There's been
you
like
you've seen like who my top artist is, so I'm super excited
true.
for him.
I'm very content with the choice.
I'm very content with the choice. I think what really stuck out, which we haven't mentioned yet, is the Twitter, I would say, meltdown
Yeah.
of, the rap community because
Uh,
of who was selected
right?
as headliner. So,
Yeah.
we have the likes of Nicki Minaj, very
Yes.
close to Drake, um, calling out the NFL, calling out Kendrick for
Yeah.
being chosen because, Louisiana
Yeah.
is Lil Wayne's home city. So very upsetting news on their behalf. But I think in terms of who's representing rap as an genre and as an art form today, I think Kendrick is definitely the right person to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I want to know your thoughts on
Oh, girl.
that side of the
Okay, like
internet.
first, like my immediate thought, like maybe they would have chose Lil Wayne, but I feel like the whole point of like the halftime show, in my opinion, is to like be outside of the box. And don't get me wrong, Lil Wayne has like bangers, but right now culturally, Kendrick Lamar is at like a higher bar, not only because of like the music that he's released this year, but throughout his whole career. He has like variety. And I was like visually thinking like what songs I would want to hear. And all the stars like at the Super Bowl halftime show alone was enough for me to be convinced that he deserved that spot. Like just imagine as that as like the closing song and then he brings out like SZA
Just
and I
imagine all of the featured artists that would come. So we'd
exactly
have like SZA, and if we're really going to
literally
go into the beef, we'd
li-
have Rihanna. They'd have
right.
Rihanna's man.
Right,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
It's like set almost. And No offense, like all respect due to Lil Wayne, but there, I mean, I feel like if Lil Wayne would do it, I feel like there should artists should like Drake should be on better terms with like some other people. But I think that should be it could be its own thing. It could be like a old YMCMB type of collab thing that they do in the future. But it's Kendrick's time. Like it's very relevant, very now. And I don't think I read something else that it was like Jay-Z being like biased. But I mean at the same time, how many years has he been part of the industry? He knows what he's doing, so I trust it, and it's gonna be a big good show. So,
Yeah, agreed.
um, another story that I think we should talk about is that Dave Grohl story with the baby mama. Like, hello, who's
Rosie, as the designated, you know, rock girly in the group. What are your thoughts on this
I have
developing
so many
story?
thoughts. I have so many thoughts because Dave Grohl basically, was painted as like this holy man in rock and roll. And obviously, we know what rock and roll is,
right?
but there is obviously a stigma, but now you're like, okay,
Yeah,
damn it, and it's hard because now like there's so much going out now, from
yeah.
musicians to actors to finding out what they've done in the past and not labeled
Girl,
anymore as a
yes,
good person. So there's very few that we have nowadays that we consider like the good guys. So we're
yes.
obviously rooting for Dave. He is always doing, community service out of the goodness of his heart. He's out here doing barbecues for homeless people and he's doing so much for the community. He's a family man. But when this came out, I was
Ooh,
just like, dang it.
I
Like,
know.
dang it.
He's actually
And
doing
it's
Yeah.
like,
other things behind the scenes, I guess. But
and
like
he has three daughters. Three
grown
daughters,
grown daughters, like
grown
somewhat grown,
daughters.
old enough
Yeah.
to like oh my gosh. Like I
Old
can't
enough
really
to understand what's happening.
yeah, exactly. And I can't speak on this because it wasn't the case with my family, but just even a case of like divorced parents for like those aged children is already like up there to deal with. So imagine like coming home and maybe what if they found out like through the news, I don't know, that their dad is having another kid with another girl, like that's crazy. So
Yeah. And I forgot which daughter, but I know one of them had deactivated her socials. And, good for her. She shouldn't have to put up with this. And
yeah, that's
obviously,
a
people are going
lot.
to talk. And, the fact that he has three grown daughters, well, one of them is 10, but, they're old enough to understand what's going on. And
Yeah.
for the baby is also a baby girl.
Yeah.
Like,
I
oh my
it's
goodness.
wild. It's giving Warped Tour.
Stop.
I used to hear stories about like those kind of artists doing stuff behind the scenes, but I didn't want to think it was true because like when you look at this guy, like Dave Grohl, like he doesn't seem that type to just, you know,
Be in the streets
Babe.
like that.
yeah, exactly. He belongs in the
Babe.
streets. And I mean, obviously I hope he takes care of this of his newborn, but if I was his wife, like take the money and go. Me personally, that's enough to like that's enough. I don't know how I could just throw a marriage and like my relationship with my grown daughters like that. It's gonna be hard to rebuild. Maybe he can. I mean, I don't know.
It's definitely going to take a long time because, you know, your dad is painted as this saint. I've seen
Yes.
candles of Saint Grawl,
Yes.
and obviously, people are still going to admire him and love him because of how much he's helped these
Right.
people go through their lives.
Right.
Little tidbit: my first CD that I ever got was a Foo Fighters
Oh wow.
CD. So, but now what's going on is just it's yeah, it's a newborn kid, obviously out of his marriage, but it's just a lot to take in because
Yeah.
he's not just some musician, he's not just some guy,
Exactly.
and it hurts, but I am hoping
Yeah.
for the best for his family, for his three girls, and I know he's gonna be there for the baby, but it's just a lot going on
It
right now.
is.
Yeah.
And I would be lying if I didn't say like not this case, but like problematic artists with like similar things. Like once in a while I'll still like listen to the music. So I'm not mad at anyone that decides to continue to listen to the music because technically it's not. personal, but I get where, like, oh, I'm
But
not gonna listen to the music anymore.
I feel like there are worse artists that you
Exactly.
would have to,
Trust. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
plenty of those. But
Yeah.
I think this
So,
is like a great example of why we shouldn't idolize artists or,
right. And
actors,
it's,
actresses.
and you made a great point because it's like a lot. And even like, okay, for those that are like listening, if you don't know, like I listen to like K-pop music as well. And all that happens in that genre as well. Like there's stuff unraveling about like SA, like trigger warning, but like that kind of stuff. But you
Mhm.
just don't know who these people are. So that was a good point. Do not idolize and get attached to these people.
And
Um,
we're seeing that with people who were idolizing Taylor Swift. We did
mm,
mention that. So I feel like a large part of her demographic who idolize her are either falling in the
true.
side of like, thank you for finally, you know,
Yeah.
doing this
Yeah.
part and,
Yeah.
encouraging people to vote, or
Yeah.
I can't believe
That's
that you would
true.
be on the side, blah, blah, blah,
You made a
blah.
good point because related to that topic with Taylor Swift and endorsements, Trump had like this rally the other day in Nevada, and I don't know if you guys know the TikTok influencer Bryce Hall. I don't really care who he is,
Oh, yes, yes,
but
yes.
that
I
whole
did see
thing
that.
unraveled, and he had like 46 million followers on TikTok at the time. But by the time that rally was over, he only had half of his following left. Oh my God.
Dang.
It just shows like don't get too attached because you never know what kind of person they are.
I saw that. I saw that in a tweet, and the tweet was, Bryce Hall, you're the worst
I was like, damn.
person on this planet. I was just like, I mean,
Yeah.
I digress. I'm not gonna talk about Bryce Hall.
Exactly.
Uh,
But yeah, that was a lot. But thank you, Kayleen and Rosie, for joining in on that convo and running down on these topics. Well, besides the weather being hot this summer, so was the box office. Here to talk about some of her favorite films, I'm gonna be asking Rosie, my fellow co-host, what she's been up to this summer.
So I thought this summer was going to be boring, but I was totally wrong. I
Uh-huh.
think just because last year had so much going on.
Yeah.
But there are, it's the summer. We had great movies. We had Furiosa, we had Deadpool
Mm.
versus Wolverine,
Mm-hmm.
there's Longlegs, there's Maxine, there's
Mm-hmm.
Alien Romulus.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much going on. Jesse Plemons was in two movies. He was in Civil War and Kinds of Kindness. We saw him last year in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm only going to talk about these films for now, and
Yeah.
I'll mention more next time because
Yeah.
there's so many.
You're over for
And
real.
there's so many, and I get so upset when I can't catch them at the cinema. But I need to get on that AMC. That that one where you pay, you get to go to the movies. I think like 3 times a week.
Yes.
Because oh my goodness, I'm happy that I have a movie theater here in my city. I just need to walk like a mile,
Oh,
and it's
slick.
fun. But I hardly ever get indie movies there. But I try to travel as much as I can. But the one movie I didn't see in theaters, but I just saw, which I was upset that I didn't see it, was Furiosa because I love Mad Max. I
Yeah.
love Fury Road. I was so obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy did
Oh,
such an
that's
amazing job.
mother.
She
Mother.
she did
Like,
so great.
oh,
It was kind of like a flip, obviously, because Charlize Theron wasn't coming back as Furiosa for this prequel, but it worked. Like Anya
that's
was
good to
pure
know, actually.
Furiosa. It was great. It was fun. I love these kind of movies because you just get your shit off your brain. You just really get to take in all the action, and it was just an amazing prequel. And Chris Hemsworth blew my mind, obviously, because we're so used to having him as Thor,
Yeah.
but to have him in this kind
Yeah.
of
And that's hard to do in a way because once you get in that Marvel world or like anything like that, like a signature character for years, it's hard to differentiate yourself when you do something else, which is why a lot of them like lay low after they're done. But it's good to see another side of those actors when they're in another role. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the one who does it really great is Hugh Jackman,
Mm,
obviously he's the one and only Wolverine, but the
yeah.
fact that we get to see him in so much more is amazing. And I was so happy when, he came back for Deadpool versus Wolverine, and I didn't know how they're gonna pull it off, especially
Right.
because how what we went through with Logan.
Oh,
Like,
girl.
but when they did the whole explanation, I'm like, okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But that movie was so fun. Oh, and spoilers for people who are listening, when I mention movies, sorry, there's gonna be spoilers, guys.
Exactly. You should already
But
know.
yeah, but
At me,
Deadpool
who's terrible
versus
at watching
Wolverine,
movies.
I was so happy with all the cameos that they had because they
Girl,
made the movie work so much.
it was great.
Like, oh my god.
Ugh.
Elektra, I was like, oh crap.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
when Blade came out, my
That whole
heart
scene
was
right
like,
there, that whole scene, when I went to see it the first time, the audience was like not as hyped. They were like clapping. I'm like, if y'all
like, you guys, you have no
don't
idea how long, we've been needing Blade and the
Right.
Blade, you
Yes.
know? And obviously with Gambit was so fun.
Ooh, I'm about to make a name for
Name
myself
for
here.
myself. Yeah.
all these memes.
I'm
eh, And the thing is, I feel bad for people who haven't watched this film because, I understand people's frustration with Disney and Marvel with not coming up with so many movies, but also shows. I know
And
it can be
canceling the
frustrating to.
best ones like the Acolyte. Hello.
Let's get. Oh,
T
oh,
T.
we're gonna. No, don't get us into it. Let's
Me,
start.
Kaitlyn cannot get started with that. Oh, Lord have mercy.
It'll be an hour long episode
Exactly.
if we talk about Acolyte getting canceled.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, your point.
But people have to see this movie because it's gonna explain so much because we're really going into like multiverses now. And
Right.
obviously, we've had other movies in the past, but now it's going to focus on that. Another film that I really loved was Long Legs. I love
Oh,
Long Legs.
yeah.
I had no idea what to expect, but for me as a movie viewer, I love slow burn movies with like a
Right.
punch in the end. Like
Yeah.
I love these type of films, and Long Legs, I had so much fun with it. And obviously, critics
Mhm.
can, have, when it comes to ratings, sometimes when we read certain things, we have so many like expectations.
Mhm.
But when it came to Long Legs, I had so much fun. There wasn't too many people in the theater when I saw it.
That's pretty cool.
Excuse me. But it was fun to watch. I love how ominous it was, how dark. I can't wait for it to start
Yeah.
raining and I can just enjoy
Oh,
the scenery.
right?
Um, but after Long Legs, I actually saw Maxine back to back. I did a little double feature.
Ooh. Oh, yes, I
Maxine,
remember. I remember you
yeah,
talking about it. That's cool.
I literally had like 3 minutes to spare. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy my Maxine ticket. I love doing double features when I can because that's how cinema
That's like the
was,
best way to do it. Like you're already there, you know?
Yes, exactly. So Maxine was also fun to watch, but I could understand when people were let down with Maxine because Pearl was just so, if you see it, if you know, you know,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But it's just when you have a movie like Pearl and then you have Maxine, you expect so much to happen, but
True.
when it didn't, you want to call it a letdown, but it's like, don't call it that. Like, it is
Yeah.
what it is, right? Um, I was really happy with Alien Romulus. That one was so much fun. I loved that it gave little, praises to the first Alien movie. And oh my gosh, at the end, it was fantastic. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun. Um, okay, so Kinds of Kindness was wild. I had no idea
Uh-huh.
that I was going to be split into like three stories, but it worked. It
Oh,
really, it really, it really did. How I mentioned that Jesse Plemons is in Kinds of Kindness. He's also in Civil War. Civil War was also wild. The ending was, oh my goodness, but
that one,
I
that was starring Kirsten Dunst,
yeah,
right?
that's what
Okay.
yeah,
I
where
seen
she's
like,
a where she's a photojournalist, and it's cool because Kristen and Jesse are married.
oh
So
shoot.
it's cool to see, Hollywood couples, do films together.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm still waiting for Eva and Ryan to do another movie together because yes,
Ooh,
like
yeah, yes,
love Place Beyond the Pines. If you guys haven't
yes.
seen it,
That's a great
obviously
movie.
we know they fall in love with each other in
Yeah.
that movie, but the ending to that movie, oh my
Oh,
God,
I know.
mind.
Talk about a plot twist, to be honest. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember like seeing it. I think I was either in my early stages of college or like still in high school when I came out, and like the whole chemistry between them was very natural, and they seemed like a family already. So I was like, oh, they're probably like dating behind the scenes.
Yeah, oh, it's so cute. But
You
those
know?
are my recommendations in case anyone hasn't seen these summer movies. And I'll talk about more movies next week. I can't wait to talk about Beetlejuice. Like, oh my
Yes.
gosh. But yeah,
That's on my to-do list the next week or so. Like,
I need to watch it before Rosie's segment because
yes.
I can't have her
I
spoiling it for
know.
me.
Seriously. I need to, yeah. Well, thank you, Rosie. Looks like Rosie was not the only one with a nice summer list. Miss Kaitlyn over here has had quite the summer reading list. What books have you been reading this summer or year so far?
Oh, well, okay, if we're going just for the summer, I've only been slacking on the reading front in terms of actually finishing books.
Tell me about it.
Summer reading slump is real. But I did start the summer off reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which is a romance, and it was so fun. It was a little different. I honestly thought
Hmm.
it was going to be more fluffy, like a light read, something to kind of just jump into the summer with. But there was a lot of really intense topics about, you know, um, family and, chosen family, finding
Hmm.
love and like learning to trust someone and like also choosing yourself. So, really, like some powerful themes in that, and also really powerful themes in like about women relationships and like just like
Okay.
friendships in general. So
Yeah.
like that was so fun and like unexpected for that just because I was expecting something that's a little bit fluffier. But overall I wanted to say I gave that a 3.7 rating out of 5 on my Goodreads.
Okay.
So that's what I started the summer with. Um, Other than that, I also finally finished A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, which
Girl,
is
I
the
need
most
to finish
recent.
the first book. I have it like down here. I need to
Mm,
I also have Throne of Glass. I need to
I
get
need
into that.
I need you to get into
I
it.
needed to get into it. I'm trying.
I need you to lock in.
I need to lock in, like
I need you to
seriously.
lock in.
Where's this damn book?
For those who don't know, A Court of Silver Flames is the most recent book to the ACOTAR series, aka the A Court of Thorns and Roses. If you're on Book Talk, you've seen that cover, this beautiful cover. Um, I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite series of all time. But with this specific book, I put it down for a couple months. I started it, believe it or not, back in March. But I put it down for a couple months because I just could not lock in and finish it.
It'd be like
And
that.
yeah, this one it was honestly a lot of plot filler. It wasn't my favorite in the series. It is the thickest book in the series. It is like 800 something pages.
Oh,
Um, and if you know the ACOTAR series and the commentary within the community, I'm very much of the camp who strongly dislikes the narrator change
mm-hmm.
that happens in this book. So from books 1 through 4, wait, yeah, 4. It's the narrator, her name is Farah, and then in this book, it changes to her sister, and I really dislike her. So I was not a fan. You'll learn. Her name is Nesta. So if you
Ooh.
get into the series, you'll learn why I dislike Nesta very much.
I mean, with a
But
name like that, I probably hate her too.
Nesta, aka Nasty, she's nasty. She's a nasty girl.
I'm an honest thing, girl.
Um, Anywho, that is also what I read. And I've been reading just like smaller books here and there. I haven't finished anything, so I won't be commenting on those yet.
Okay.
But as I do have a reading goal of finishing 16 books this year.
Oh,
So
nice.
definitely hope to do a couple more reviews as the podcast progresses. But yeah,
Yay.
that's all for my segment.
Slay. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys for sharing what you guys did this summer. All I did was like binge watch like cute little rom-coms and watch Love Island. But
Ah, love Island.
I need to get into Love Island. I've just been
yes.
seeing memes and videos, and I don't watch
Yeah.
these kind of shows, but
It's just
I
like
think I
overly
should.
dramatic and it's a
I
I
only watched it
enjoyed
for PPG.
it. Exactly. Exactly. They were the show.
Yeah.
But
But
I definitely have to start reading more. Like I started trying to try out audiobooks. I have one that I have right now. It's called The Haunting of Alejandra.
uh
But I don't know. I feel like I just need to sit down and actually read a book because back at back before high school, I was an avid reader. But
yeah.
during high school, I just started hating reading. And
Mm,
now I'm like, I miss just reading. Like this was a part of me, you know? The
Yeah.
first book that I finished was actually, I believe, 2 years ago. It's a mystery novel called We Run the Tides. And I think what really hooked me was
Ooh.
this book mentioned some bands that I like. So I thought that was really fun. The second book that I finished completely was called Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter.
Ooh.
And that one took me a while to read because I knew that it was going to hit hard. And it did.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really did. And so I went to the library, got a bunch of books, and now I'm like, I'm not even reading them. So I need to
Mm,
get out of that slump. So
Girl,
yeah.
Kaitlyn, I will start reading those books. So
I
I'll let you know
felt
how they are.
I
Thanks.
felt
Love it.
I got like the one I'm trying to read right now is Twisted Love. But I'm trying to
Mm,
read that. I know. I need to get into it. I have the book. I bought it like last week, so that's on my to-do list. If I can finish like two
a
more
book.
books this summer at least or this year, I'd be content. Like my goal this year was to I mean, it wasn't part of my New Year resolution, but like a personal goal, I wanted to read like four books. And
Hmm.
so far, I mean, I've done like kind of two, but like I kind of didn't finish the second one. I just fell in
Hmm.
a slump because, when life happens. Exactly.
Facts. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but that's pretty cool. You guys were like busy with movies and books. And if you guys have any recommendations, like the listeners, feel free to like drop in like comments when we post what we should read or book recs or movie recs. And that'd be kind of really cool. I'm like multitasking. Give me like a second.
Very slay. She's a working girl.
Exactly.
She's
But
multifaceted. Okay.
moving on to our next segment here, we're gonna be reading submissions. As you guys know, what we've been promoting, we're doing like anonymous hot takes, celebrity hot takes, and we already got a couple. For today, I'm just gonna read like two, or we're gonna read two and just answer. And then, but every episode, guys, feel free. I'm gonna share the link like every week to open it up for celeb hot takes, or like if you wanna ask like lifestyle questions or silly things, we're your
We'll
girls.
change it up every week.
Exactly. So our first submission says, overall Emmy thoughts? Question mark. I've heard lots of discussion around The Bear and how it should be nominated for drama rather than comedy. They say I agree, but what are your thoughts? Ooh,
I am very much of that camp. I
yeah.
watch The Bear. I love The Bear. It's funny, but not in like it's a comedy series way. It's
Right.
comedy
Yeah.
because it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like we're talking
Exactly.
about like I want to unalive myself. Like, you know what I mean? It's like funny because we're that generation of people who like joke
Yeah.
about that stuff. But the cinematography, the dialogue, the themes of the show is very much not comedic at all. It's very much a drama. So I agree with that take. So I'm gonna bump that down to a hot take to being a lukewarm take.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna.
No, it should be drama because the only comedy in there is just the oh my God, I need to pause. Oh, okay. Let me say that again. Okay. So yeah, it should be in drama because the only comedy in the show is just comedic relief. And people
Yeah.
don't even like the comedic relief. I'll see like
Right.
on Twitter, on threads, how the characters for these comedic reliefs are considered annoying, but it's like you
I
do
love
know
them.
we should probably have some lightheartedness in this
Right.
show, right? Because
Hello.
Hmm.
Like,
it's just full of anxiety. Like we just need to
yeah.
shut the TV off for a little bit. We're reflecting on a lot of stuff, but we need that comedic relief. But this show, not comedy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's very realistic because in a situation as we probably if you guys probably dealt with or like the listeners, anxiety attacks, panic attacks are like very real. Trauma from family is very real, and you can't just like, I mean, once in a while like laugh it off, but deep down, at the end of the day, it's gonna make you trip and make you like break down. Like it'll
Hmm.
just come randomly. Like for me, when I'm at work, I start thinking about like I start thinking about. I mean, I'll like laugh in the moment, but at the same time, I'm like, this is really affecting me like every day. It's
No,
just simple
yeah.
things. Like it doesn't matter. Like family, work, school, like all that can just like get like stressed on you in a second.
Yeah, for
And a
sure.
lot of people don't know that they have anxiety. Like once in a
True.
while, I'll text a friend and they'll be like, "How are you
True.
doing?" And I'll tell them, "Oh, I'm going through anxiety right now." And they'll ask me, "What's that like? What does it feel like?" And I've had a few guy friends tell me, "Oh, you know what? I go through that. Maybe I should get checked out." I was like, because a lot of
Yeah,
people don't recognize what it is. And so when they
Hmm.
go through it or talk to someone about it, they're just realizing, "Oh, wow, I'm going through this too." So there is help out there. You don't ever feel like you're alone if you ever go through like anxiety, through depression. Some of us don't even know when we have panic attacks. Like I've had panic attacks
girl.
myself without even knowing that they were panic attacks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if you're ever out there feeling alone, talk to a loved one, talk to a friend. There are loved ones out there who do care about you, and you're not alone. People go through this, and it's very much very real.
Very real. And that's literally like this discussion right now is the reason why The Bear should be considered a drama, not a comedy. And I feel like in a way, it's like I don't want to say poking fun at people that deal with that like on a daily basis, but like saying that what they deal with is funny is kind of weird to me. But that's how I felt about that. But that was a good question. Our second submission, oh, this is gonna be interesting. They said we shouldn't count on and be more critical of celebrities for social causes, even the ones we like. Ooh, T.
All right. Can I take this one?
Yeah, please take the floor.
Um, I I agree and disagree with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I do think we shouldn't count on them and be more critical of them for what they support, but I do think we should be critical about them using their platform for something. Because I'm very much,
Yeah.
and in my way of thinking, like if you have a platform, use it.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure the person who submitted this is saying this because of the whole Taylor Swift situation and why it took her so long to like make that statement. Like, not even like, for me, it's not even about her endorsing Kamala. It was more of like, it took you this long to say something,
Right.
because like for months, people have been criticizing her for not saying anything about
Yeah.
the genocide in Gaza.
Yes.
And now you're using your platform because it's affecting you in this way because people are using your
Yeah.
AI image. So
Yeah.
I do definitely think like we shouldn't look to them for how we should vote, how we should like think about things. That very much I agree with. But in terms of like using their platform, absolutely use your platform, tell people to vote, tell people to register to vote. Like those things are important and that's what they should be using their
Mhm.
celebrity status for.
And she knows like a lot of other celebrities do, but she knows like the last election she encouraged people to vote just by sharing a link. I
Hmm.
don't know the stats, but I know like a lot of
It was
younger,
significant.
yeah, it was very significant. So I think they should be a bit more critical if they have like I mean in my opinion any source of platform you have like I mean I get it, you just want to be active on stuff you personally believe in, but
Mhm.
As people like in that industry, like music artists asking people to like stream your music, buy your albums and things like that, I feel like it's almost the same thing. Like you need to like go out and simple vote. You're not asking, I mean, in her case, maybe not, but in general, you're not asking who to vote for, but you're just encouraging people to vote and
Yeah.
things like that. I think that's like very crucial, especially with people with large platforms such as herself, Selena
Hmm.
Gomez, Ariana Grande,
Yeah.
the Kardashian Jenner
I
clan.
just think it's a stupid take for people to be like, oh, like who cares what Kim Kardashian has to say
Yeah,
about voting? And I'm like,
exactly.
you say that, but then like if they're not speaking on
Yes,
something else, then you're
exactly.
getting mad. Like you
Exactly.
can't pick and choose those things. So like
Exactly.
obviously I don't care what she thinks, but I care that she's saying something.
That part. Exactly.
So
And I think that's what the public wants in like not just voting, but either like if what they're doing to in regard to Gaza and Palestine. I think that's very important that some of them are vocal because they're vocal about a lot of other things, but they don't want to be vocal about like things that are actually affecting not only their lives but everyone else's life. And I think that was a good point. Um, but yeah, that closes up our discussion with the anonymous messages. But like I said before, if you guys have any like hot takes, feel free to like copy the link or we'll be posting weekly about it. So but anyways, that ends our first episode of Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you to my amazing fellow hosts.
Woo!
Exactly. Woo! Thank you to my amazing fellow hosts, Rosie and Kaitlyn, for sharing such a passion for pop culture, like as moi. We are gonna have a blast and have some cool things prepared for you guys, the listeners, as our podcast develops. This is like, I know it's like off script, but any like final remarks for today and like what they can kind of expect, but like what you want to get out of this podcast. I know we shared it in our episode 0, but
Rosie, you want to go first?
Yeah. So with me, definitely expect a lot of movies that are currently out right now. Also, some movies from the past that I caught interest in and I just want to talk to someone about it.
girl,
But
tell me about
I'll
it.
definitely try to make it more like films that are out right now, or also talk about films that are available on streaming so people can access it to it easily because we don't have Blockbuster anymore.
Yeah.
But that's what I'll be definitely doing. If there's a film that isn't in theaters but it's streaming and you want me to see, just let me know. Just hit me up at Rosie Darko and let me know because I absolutely just love watching films. I love watching new films. I love watching films from back in the day
Ooh, yeah.
and seeing how these films are influencing the movies of today. Because you hear
Yeah.
a lot of directors saying, "Oh, this so and so movie influenced me for this scene or this movie." La La Land is one of my favorite films of all time. I name it like probably my number one.
Yes.
But I was seeing the films that influenced this movie, and I'm like, oh my God, I get it. I get
Mhm.
it. So
Yeah.
expect that from me for now.
That's very cool.
On my end, well, you guys got a little glimpse of it today, but you can continue to expect me being very passionate about things in pop culture, anything that's trending, TikTok trends, trending sounds.
Yes.
Love talking about that. I love talking about books, the ones that I do end up finishing. I love music, so I'm always going to be reviewing, talking, raving about anything that has recently come out or just artists or albums that I'm currently fixating on. So like this past week I started fixating on this band from the 70s called the Stylistics. So I've been like re-listening to that all week. So yeah. Oh, also wrestling. I said that in episode
Yes.
0, but
I
I'm
think
gonna
we
be
have that. All three of us have like a general interest in all that. So,
mhm,
like whenever that topic comes up, like we're gonna have fun with it. And I think we
yeah.
kind of kept it clean today, guys. Because I'm not gonna lie, like
I didn't
at
cuss a
least,
single time, guys. Are you guys so proud of me?
I know. Like I'm so proud. And what like to expect, at least from Kaitlyn and I, is
Yeah,
a lot of
like
simping.
literally
A lot of simping, guys.
every other. I don't. You can cut this, but literally every TikTok I send Katie is a thirst edit of a man that we're obsessed over. Like it's.
And
I'm
it makes my
unwell.
day, honestly.
I'm
That's
ill.
great. It's good
So.
times. We'll be talking about that a lot on here too, guys.
Mhm.
Anything we see, we'll discuss it. But one thing you guys can expect from me before we wrap up, same thing. Like I'll like chime in when, if I've seen a movie that Rosie has watched or recommend, or like something that Caitlin talks about, whether it's music. But yeah, I check in on a lot of things like pop culture related, not even just music or film, like sports, fashion trends, like a lot of that good stuff we'll be talking about. So, um,
I love hearing your takes on fashion, Katie, because
ah,
ooh,
Oh
stop,
yeah.
I love
stop.
them.
Y'all having me
So
up,
can't
like,
wait for the next one.
oh,
We
thank you
are in
guys.
award season, so that's definitely
Oh,
going to be on
right?
the agenda.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're gonna have so much fun on this podcast, guys. And before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you guys for listening to a silly podcast about serious pop culture moments. This has been Katie.
Caitlin.
Rosie.
Yay! See you guys next time for the second episode of Hey, how y'all doing? Releasing on October 3rd. If you guys know that date, you know. We're gonna have fun. See you guys later. Bye.